How are you, Dan?
Doing very well.
It's nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
We're here at the Congregational Church, and you are a composer, is that correct?
That's right.
Tell me a little bit about your music.
Well, I write all kinds of music, opera, chamber music, contemporary, what you would say, contemporary concert music is what I work on in all genres.
Performed where, mostly?
All around. The most recent thing was an opera performance in Texas. They did an opera of mine called With Blood, With Ink at the Fort Worth Opera, and they did 10 performances there in April and May.
Have you written operas before, or is this just a...
This was my third opera.
Interesting.
The only one that I really put out there for performance, but it's got some practice before.
Where are you from?
Originally from Pennsylvania.
Yeah?
Yeah, I grew up there, and I now live in Florida.
And
teach at a college down there.
Oh, you do? You're a teacher. So you teach music?
Teach music, yeah. Composition and theory at Rollins College in Winter Park, Florida.
So how would you describe the music you teach or the music you compose?
Well, it's contemporary concert music.
What does that mean?
It's classical music, but it's, I think my style, I would say, is neo-romantic style. Complex sometimes, but it uses musical idioms that people are familiar with, I would say. It's not as challenging as some.
Now, do you make your total living on teaching and composing?
Yeah, those two things.
And how has your career progressed? Where would you say you are?
Well, maybe early mid-career. But for example, this opera that I wrote was finally has gotten its professional premiere, and I wrote it as a grad student, and so it's taken some time.
Now, is that popular these days? I mean, opera. Do you think opera is becoming more popular?
I think it is. There's a lot of interest in contemporary opera now, and companies are discovering that and presenting more pieces. The Fort Worth Opera does new music every year.
What's your opera about?
It's about a nun in the 1600s in Mexico City who was a poet, a genius, scholar really. And she had the largest library in the New World at that time, much larger than anything in colonial America, North America. And
based on truth?
Based on truth, yeah. She was a nun, but she also wrote theological arguments in addition to her poetry and plays. And that got her in some trouble with the church. And the opera, the climax occurs when the clergy said that she could write no more. She signed an oath in her own blood to that effect that she would write no more or be excommunicated. So it's...
And in her real life?
In her real life this happened, yeah.
And what did she decide to do?
Well, she signed the oath, and she died 2 years later of plague. She took care of the other nuns in the convent. But she had to get rid of her library, which it was a tragedy, really. But now she's very well respected, and she's on the peso.
Is that
in Mexico?
right?
Yes, her face is on the peso.
Now, when you got this idea to do this, had there ever been an opera done about her?
No, there have been other things. There's a film about her, and maybe there's even another opera now. I've heard word that there might be.
There is a film about her?
There's a film, yes.
Is it a Mexican film?
I believe so.
You don't know the name of it?
And I don't. And in fact, I've not seen it. I sort of avoided it till we were through with our project. Because
when did you finish this opera?
Well, this opera was finished in the 1990s, but I revised it a bit for this performance. Redid some orchestration and things like that.
Now, is it still running?
It's just finished. In May it finished.
And is your hope that maybe it just goes more and more?
We have hope of that. You know, I would love to see other companies pick it up, and we're pursuing those options.
What was the reaction to it? Did you
Positive, yeah. We had a good Wall Street Journal review and Opera News and a lot of those publications. And the audience was enthusiastic. So.
Now, when people think of opera, they think, Italians, right?
Yeah, and this opera's in English.
It's in English?
Yes.
Does it sound as if it's done as an Italian opera? I mean, is it...
Now, there are some Italian operatic moments in it, I would say, some Verdi, Puccini moments in it, but also, Benjamin Britten, and a lot of other influences come into play. And the stylistic range is wide. It goes from very tonal lyrical music to atonal music too, in the most anguished moments.
So for those people, we're going to hear you play a little bit in a minute, but for those people who have never been to an opera, and you wanted to explain to them so that they could enjoy it, get the most out of it, when they see an opera. What do you say to someone?
To prepare to see one?
Yes.
I would say read about the subject, read the synopsis. If you can listen to it ahead, that's a wonderful idea, because then you know what to expect and you're looking for the big moments.
It's
and,
okay to listen to it before you
yeah,
see it?
oh yeah. The more familiar you are with it, the more rewarding it'll be, because the big moments you'll be anticipating and be very satisfied when they come. And,
Because of the dramatic tension that's
Right.
inside an opera.
yeah,
It's not just
and that's
the
what I
music.
always do. Whenever I'm about to see an opera, I try to listen to it ahead and read as much as I can about it.
Interesting. So now you're here, how long are you performing for?
I'm here on the island for a couple of months. I'll be here till the end of September.
Wonderful.
And this is the best place to write for me. Over the years, I've written my best music here. And a lot of the opera was written here.
Is that right?
it was.
Your family have a house out
They do. My mother, before she was married in the 1960s, she got a house, a small cottage. And ever since I was born, I've been coming.
Good for
So-
you. Wow, so you're in a creative mode.
That's right. This is the place to be creative.
That's cool. Can we hear you play something?
Sure. Maybe I'll play something I wrote a long time ago when I was a teenager here.
Okay.
I wrote it on Nantucket.
All right.
It's a barcarolle. Barcarolle means boat song. And this island is water all around and boats all around. So that's what I was thinking when I wrote it.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
Wow, you must
Wrote
be
that
very
when I
proud
was-
of that. How old were you?
17.
Unreal.
Yeah, it's an old piece.
Where do you think that inspiration came from? I mean, when I hear that, I think of Nantucket in the old days.
Well, yeah, it was
You know?
a little bit of a different place then.
Sure was.
I was growing up, but yeah, it was all written here, and it has a lot to do with the music I was obsessed with at that time.
Which was Barcarolle.
Barcarolle, the Chopin and Fauré, and music like that at that time.
Can you play us one more piece? Maybe something from the opera?
Yeah, a little piece from the opera. Maybe I'll do just a little fragment of something. This is toward the very beginning. She's talking about her life, and she says, "I had no father, and my mother sent me away, sent me alone to find my way." I'll sing it the best I can.
Okay.
A soprano would sing this, of course.
Okay.
I had no father, and my mother sent me away, sent me alone to find my way. Led by the light of reason, she sent me alone. and now it has all become darkness. Requiem aeternam,
Thank you, Dan. That was
Sure.
beautiful.